One more minute. Hello, anybody who is watching on our stream.
Hope you've been enjoying our dancing.
Happy to have you on the stream. End of time. Time to be born, time to die. All right, I think we're going to start. Hey, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Really glad that you're here. We are happy to have this young man back with us. I was talking about Tom. No, I'm joking. Good to have Kenner Snyder back with us. And always great when Tom Weeder offers to participate in our service. It really does spice things up, and we thank you so much. And we are aware that we are installing new board members tonight, so welcome to those of you who are new board members. And we are going to begin with the singing of Lechu Neranena, and you can find that on page 130.
Lechu neranena, l'Adonai neriha, litzur yishenu, litzur yishenu. Lechu neranena, l'Adonai neriha, litzur yishenu, litzur yishenu. Nekad mafana v'toda, bizmirot nariha lo. Nekad mafana Bizmirot nariha lo, lechu neranena, l'Adonai nariha, litzur yishenu, litzur yishenu. Lechu neranena, l'Adonai nariha, litzur yishenu, litzur yishenu. Nekad mafana v'toda, bizmirot nariha lo. Nekad mafana v'toda, bizmirot nariha lo.
All right, that's a good way to start. Let's continue with lighting the Shabbat candles. We can find this on page 120 in our Siddur, and we call upon, for the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles, Samantha Berger. Samantha's going to be a bat mitzvah here at our synagogue tomorrow morning. We're very enthusiastic about that. You can bring your parents up too if they want to come. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so, yeah, we're on page 120. And again, this is the blessing for the candles. A minute here. Now, are you doing the English? Are you doing it? Okay, so right here. As these Shabbat
candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold them. As they brighten reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
All right, so now let's get the matches ready. You have to do the lighting. Remember how you bragged about how good you were at this? All right, closer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
We'll do the Kiddush later. Merv, you want to do the Kiddush outside? Is that right? No, lobby. All right, so we're going to do, see, you should know that this is a holiday. We're not really, I brought out things for you, like visuals. It's the holiday of Sukkot. It starts today. But our sukkah is not yet complete. So that's going to be completed tomorrow. So we're going to do, maybe we'll just kind of shake the lulav a little bit. We'll do Kiddush and Motzi out in the lobby a little bit later after the service, and we'll have an opportunity to lulav, etrog, but we're not going to go in the sukkah because it's not really quite a sukkah yet. But it will be. And when it is, that'll be very exciting. But so just, I have the visuals here, but we'll take care, so we'll do Kiddush and Motzi a little bit later after the service ends in the lobby. So let's continue with Lecha Dodi, and that can be found on page 138. And as you are probably accustomed to, we're going to do the first, the second, the fifth, and the ninth verse. And when we reach the ninth verse, I'm going to invite you to stand up and face the entrance so we can greet the Sabbath bride as the mystics of Sfat did. But in the meantime, Lecha Dodi, first, second, fifth, and ninth verse.
B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmiyamu el hameuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem ultiferet ולתהילה הולך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה הולך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם משוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה הולך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה הולך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, היווה Orech Uni Uri Shir Daveri Kivod Adonai Alayich Nigla Olecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Olecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
Sir, we rise. Please rise. Face the entrance.
Boi b'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzola toch emuneh am segula boi kala olecha dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Olecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
Palm, willow, myrtle, and an etrog, a citron. And what is so interesting about, first of all, it says this is the deluxe. And because they're not all the same. And in Jewish tradition, it's funny because, I've seen movies about this too. One's such a great one, it's called Ushpizim, in which you literally, it's like they're the joy of picking the most expensive and most beautiful etrog. Even if you don't have the money for it, you're still spending on the etrog. And so we got the deluxe. Trust me, there are super deluxes out there. But there's something that's so joyous about smelling this etrog and waving the lulav. It is our season of joy, but this is it matches the feeling and the emotion. There's no doubt about it. So we continue with the Baruch Hu, page 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai.
149, join me at the top. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim. 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated, and you're going to find a nuanced version of the English here on 154.
And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. And that song is on the facing page 158, Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה, נורא אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
That's such a great song. Such a great version. All right, we're on page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
I hope you heard in that song/prayer that's on 161, Baruch atah Adonai, we praise you, Adonai, our God, Hapores Sukat Shalom Aleinu, who spreads out a sukkah of peace among us. That the symbol of Sukkot is joy, yes, but peace for sure. Gratitude, peace. This is the festival in which we are in Israel thankful because those first rains are starting to appear. Global warming aside, climate change aside, it generally speaking does not rain in Israel during the summer. It starts the first raindrops around now. Granted, I have seen some strange differences in the last 15, 20 years in that country. That said, typically it does not rain until around now. And so this festival of joy is about the joy of rain. It's about the joy of things working the way they're supposed to in that nation. And so Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, a sukkah of peace over us, is one of the great themes of Sukkot. All right, so the Tefillah 164, please rise. Starts with Adonai Sefatai Tiftach.
Adonai, Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilateha. Ananana Adonai. Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai. Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai. Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, עזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. All right, so page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen.
Okay, page 178. This is Shalom Rav, and this is a new version of Shalom Rav. It's quite beautiful. I heard it for the first time this week, a few days ago, actually. And but it's written by a composer who has written a fair amount of Jewish music. I'm trying to think of which ones they would be familiar with.
Hine matov.
Yeah, that one. Hine Matov, but I feel like there's got to be more.
Oh, there's so many.
Oh, the Mi Chamocha that we did before, which is
Who is like you?
Her name is Alana Arian. She's beautiful. She's really one of the great songwriters of our Jewish generation. And this is a Shalom Rav that she wrote.
Make a vow house for all people. Gather us in hope for all people. Surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Mitov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol hetu vechol shah bishlomecha bishlomecha. Make of us a house for all people. Gather us in hope for all people. Surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Make of us a house for all people. Gather us in hope for all people. Surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
All right, so nice. Good start. Good first time with that one. So we're going to, we always like to do here, is pause from the prayer book for just a minute and enter into the world of just some personal stuff, and that's when I get to show off a little bit. See, right, it's like, it's like when Bruce Springsteen goes to the Taylor Swift concert and it just kind of comes up for one. That's kind of like me. All right. So some joy. If you have joy that you want to share, then I would love to hear it. And all you have to do is just raise your hand and begin and share the joy. Yes, Mary. Graduated from physical therapy yesterday. Mazel tov. That's a big deal. And did they say that? I got to bring it on. Was it like what did you graduate with? Honors, with distinction? Summa cum. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Anybody else want to? Yeah, Glenn. How about demos? That was really great. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. That's really great. That they got 3 games to just mess around right now, and then kind of like tinker. That's really good news for the O's. There's no doubt about it. Mazel tov to the O's. Anybody else want to share joy? Tom, yes. which is Josh Breitzer's synagogue. Fantastic, getting your kids to go to the high holiday services on their own without too much prodding. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? More joy. It's got to be more. Yes, Jeff, you're pointing to Kim. No, you're pointing to Sam. Her bat mitzvah tomorrow. Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Are you enthusiastic too, Sam, or just your parents? Also, our son. Your son did get his first college acceptance today too. A lot of joy going around the Berger household. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? More joy? Come on, there's got to be a little bit. My God, this is a really depressing congregation, but fair enough. I got to. It's like, you know, when you describing the congregation. You know, how would you describe our congregation? Well, you know, we're in Anne Arundel County. We're pretty much joyless. It's a joyless congregation. All right. Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim. We praise you, Adonai, our God, for partnering with us in the many joys that are in our life. When I know there's more, you're just not saying it. Along with the joy is a recognition that loved ones of ours are struggling or in need of healing, and we have a blessing that we say for them. And that blessing is called Misha Berach. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to share with you the first part of the blessing, and then halfway through I'm going to give you a chance to include any names that you wish for healing. So the blessing begins, Misha Berach, Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel, which means, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Uyivarech v'Yirapet kol hacholim shelanu, may God bless and heal all of our loved ones who are in need of healing, especially the ones whom we name. So if you'd like to share the name of someone in need of healing, just kind of, as I look towards you, just kind of give me the signal. And you can say it. More still. Allow me to add a few other names. Eric Harris, Mika Rom, Leslie Harris, Allison Herman, Cheryl Beck, along with Sarah and Arden McCammon, Mark Katz, Stephen Schwartz, and Nate Adams. Yishlach lehem, bimhera refuah shalema. God send them speedily a complete recovery. Refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, healing of body and healing of spirit. Toch sha'ar cholei Yisrael, amongst all who are in need of healing. Amar, amen. And if you'd like, feel free to turn to page 371, and that's where you can find the words to Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Li'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Okay, we pause now for a moment of silence.
Say shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Say shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Say shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen.
So in a moment, we are going to recognize our board members who are here and who are taking on the job of becoming or being or remaining a board member of our congregation. And we'll do so with just a prayer. However, before this prayer, I want to tell you a little something. I want to teach you about a guy by the name of Rav Asi. So Rav Asi was born and grew up in Nehardia, which is in Babylonia. And he lived in the 3rd century. And he was a student of the great Shmuel, who was one of the great leaders of the Babylonian Jewish community. And Rav Asi had one of the most extraordinarily demanding mothers. I'm talking about a nightmare of a mother. If you want to know listen to what happened to Rav Asi one time. It's really one of my favorite stories. So Rav Asi was taking care of his mom, as he always would be known to do. And one time, his mother says to him, "I want fine jewels. So Rav Asi, who was not a rich man, went out and worked hard, gathered a lot of money, made a lot of sacrifices along the way, and purchased a fair number of jewels for his mother. And his mother was happy, but followed up that request with, I want a husband, because Asi's father and his mother's husband had died. I want a husband. And so Asi, the dutiful son that he was, he went out through the town, looked for a suitable suitor and pair and couple who could join his mom and get married. And he found someone who would marry his mother, hard as it was based on how she was, type of person she was. So he brings this fella home, and she says to her son, Asi, she says, get him out of here. And so, Asi says to the man, I apologize but I guess I'm going to have to show you the door. Thank you so much for agreeing to marry my mom, but unfortunately, I guess it won't be happening, at least anytime soon. And he says to his mom, what's wrong with this husband, this potential, partner for you? And she says to him, I want you to find me a husband who is as handsome as you are, she says to her son. Right? And at that point, the whole story gets a little creepy. And so Rav Asi does what anyone would do in the same circumstance, at least I think, which says, you know what, I think my time here in Nehardia is done. And he packs his bags and leaves Babylon. And trust me, a demanding mother like Rav Asi's mother did not take kindly to the fact that he just said, I'm leaving. I'm going to Israel. And so she follows him. But it takes her much, much longer to get to Israel than it took him. As it turns out, the story kind of turns a little tragic. She dies along the way. I don't know I actually do know. The Talmud does talk about how Asi felt about his mother dying along the way. But that's how he felt is not my point. My point is he got to Israel and he studied, left the yeshiva of Shmuel and went and studied with Yochanan, a very famous Rabbi Yochanan. Not Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, different Yochanan, but still equally famous Yochanan. And he studied with him for decades. In fact, he developed a great friendship with another rabbi whose name was Ami. So Asi and Ami were like a partnership. They did everything together. They studied together, they argued with each other, they ruled together, they were, the Talmud goes on, and oftentimes when it speaks about that, it talks about them as a pair. So Rabbi Asi, he was about to die himself, years later, but his dear friend and partner Ami was a little bit younger than him, but also a little bit healthier than him, and so Asi died a number of years before his friend Ami. And as Asi was dying, his friend Ami came to him, and Ami noticed that Asi was crying. And he says to Rab Asi, he says, why are you crying? And he says, because he suspected that he was crying because he knew that he was dying and that he was going to be judged at some point, and that he was going to fall short in the final judgment by God. But Asi says, why are you crying? Is there any Torah that you didn't learn or teach? And Asi says to him, no, it could not have been more Torah that I'd learned or taught. And then Ami says to him, Well, if it's not Torah, was there any act of kindness that you didn't do? Knowing that, of course, he had done so many acts of kindness. And Asi said, no. There wasn't any act of kindness that I missed out on doing. And then Ami says to him, well, look, I know about the type of person you are. You were offered so many opportunities to serve, public office, but you never took them up because you didn't want to have that type of want people to think that you were in it for the prestige or for the honors. And Asi says to him, no, that's exactly why I cry. I cry because I had the opportunity to be a leader, but I didn't take it. And the Talmud talks about how Asi felt as if ultimately he missed out on important responsibilities because he could have been a leader but didn't. Now again, no one has to, but he missed his chance. And I think the Talmud is trying to communicate to us that when we have the opportunity to be a leader, to lead a people, we should take that up. That it's an important obligation and responsibility. The people here today who are either continuing on with their positions on the board or taking on a position on the board, or in some cases coming back to the board again, they do not do so for the glory, that's for sure. No one is part of a synagogue board because of how good it looks on your resume. You do it out of love. You do it because you care about the Jewish people. You do it because you care about this community, this congregation. And I personally am so grateful for the leadership of our congregation. It is a most sacred partnership between the people who work here and the people who oversee this congregation as volunteers. I could not do it without you. I'd like to think you couldn't do it without me, although the reality is you could do it without me. I know I couldn't do it without you. And so just a blessing to those who are taking on leadership roles in our congregation, of which there are a few here. And what I'd like to do is invite you just to stand in your place if you are part of our Board of Trustees, so I can just offer you a quick prayer. Thank you. O God, we ask your blessings upon these leaders who have been chosen to serve our congregation. Instill in them insight and understanding, perseverance as well as patience. Inspire them to work together in pursuit of our community's greatest values, even as they watch over its daily needs. Oh God, we are thankful for the dedication and giving spirit that bring these men and women before you, prepared to devote their energies to your service and to the benefit of us all. Grant them strength when they are weary, hope when they are discouraged, and devotion to face the obstacles that may meet them along the way. And may they always know that they stand on the shoulders of worthy predecessors in the pursuit of our sacred mission. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu l'zman hazeh. Praise you, Adonai, our God, for giving us life and for sustaining us and enabling us to reach this day. Amen. Thank you for standing. You can sit down. At this time, we continue with our service with the prayer called Aleinu. It can be found on page 586. And we would like to invite you to please rise. Right there.
ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. So at this moment of sacred memory, we bring to mind loved ones from our congregation who have been called to their eternal rest. I am aware that we have a number of people who have passed away quite recently in our congregation, and this is the period of Shloshim, the 30 days of intensive mourning. We remember lovingly Judy Sarubin, wife of Jay Resnick. Don Singer, husband of Mary McCutcheon, and Andrea Diane Chaparral, the cousin of Cindy Fox. And finally, Beth Smith, wife of Riley Smith and mother of Evan and Mia. We also remember at this time these loved ones whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat. It is the anniversary of their passing. Remember Howard Anstendig, Murray Kunitz, Carolyn Donner, Rebecca Kahn, Rodney Plotkin-Klein, Phil Robbins, Virginia Fry, Saul Krasner, Joyce Gould Romer, Lillian Katz, Solomon Cooper, Robert Curry, Samuel Rosenbaum, Herbert Saray, Eileen Rocco, Melvin Waldstein, Stephen Leonard Kalish, Jack Howard Jacobs, Blanche Bookchester, Sidney Coslow, and Sidney Zerwitz. And so in gratitude for their lives and linking their names with the rest of our loved ones who have passed away, we remember them all with the words of our mourner's prayer, which is called the Kaddish. And if it is your custom, I invite you to please rise, and we're on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechal beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei alamaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei b'kudsha
Brichu.
La min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiram b'yalma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Usei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. Let us say amen. Please be seated. Thank you so much. Okay. Our service is almost done. Again, as I mentioned before, we're going to do Kiddush and Motzi out in the lobby, and I'll also bring lulav and etrog out so you can shake and smell. But before we conclude, and by the way, we're concluding with Pete Seeger and the Yardbirds' version of Turn, Turn, Turn. Now, why are we picking this? Because this is a Sukkot song. It was taken from the book of Ecclesiastes, which is the text that we read during Sukkot. And it also speaks about just kind of the seasons changing and turning, and it's an amazing, amazing song. And as I have recently discovered, very difficult to play. But thankfully, we've got someone very, very talented here. So thank you. So speaking of talent, Tom, we're so grateful to you and your presence here. Of course, I generally don't like to talk about, Cantor Snyder because he's just up here with me. But thank you for being here. Because we had some complicated ones this evening, and I'd certainly love the new version of Shalom Rav. Also, thank you to Jerry Falk and Heidi Schnapp for serving as ushers. Thank you so much. Lizzie Greenberg, Brian Taubel, and Jim Wagman sponsored the Oneg Shabbat, so thank you to them. We have a bat mitzvah tomorrow. That's Sam, and she is going to be absolutely outstanding. Samantha, we're really looking forward to that. With you tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you want to watch, you can always stream, as you can stream all of our services. But it's better to be here in person than to stream, but if you can't be here, we'd still love it for you to stream. If you have a child or you know someone who is in the 8th through 12th grade, we have our youth group has its first program of the year, which is our Beatty movie night in the sukkah. It's probably going to be more like dinner in the sukkah and then movie on our really great screen that we have in the social hall. But they're going to be watching You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, which I have not yet seen, but I hear it's fabulous. Cannot wait to watch it tomorrow. If you're an adult and want to watch that movie, just kind of sneak in the back and no one will say a word. Minion Munchkin's Tot program, that's on Sunday morning. That's ages 2 to pre-K, if you have anybody in that demographic. Here at the temple, Rosh Chodesh Sukkah Saunter. That is also on Sunday. Join local area people of Rosh Chodesh for a nice walk together, starting at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Simchat Torah Festival Service with Yizkor. That is next Saturday, not tomorrow, but next Saturday at 10 a.m. And also the Simchat Torah service is on Friday night, too. We have a couple of great adult education programs coming up. Dirty Words with Dr. Barry Gitlin. How ancient inscriptions uncovered through excavations illuminate Israel's history. That's the dirty part of it, because it's dusty. But Dr. Gitlin is, was the chair of the Jewish Studies Department at Towson University, and he just recently retired and a great scholar. It's going to be great to have him here. My Torah study begins on Monday, October 16th. My Sages class begins soon after. Hasidic Stories with Rabbi Yitz Nates, a 2-part class, is on October 17th. Tot Shabbat and family dinner, all this kind of. We've got lots of stuff happening. Just take a look at our weekly email or our website for the latest up-to-date information. I think I have said plenty. We are going to conclude, not with Motzi, we'll do that outside in the lobby along with Kiddush. We are going to conclude with Turn, 664.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to reap. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down. A time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rent, a time to sow, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
Wow, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sukkot Sameach, and join us out in the lobby for the blessings of Kiddush and Motzi, and if you want to give the lulav a try and the etrog a smell. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Nice job, Tom.